Hi guys, Dominique here, and I have one of my dearest friends with me, Romel. And we are going to be discussing two beautiful topics today, you guys. We're going to be talking about obedience, and we're going to be talking about hearing from God. So, obedience, Romel, what does obedience mean to you?
Obedience means literally obeying the word of God. What does obedience mean to you?
Obedience means letting go of things. Letting go of addictions, letting go of toxic things in your life so that you can pursue the best version of yourself. In order to achieve obedience, I feel as though there are critical steps that we took, that friends of ours took in order to pursue the best versions of ourselves. And I would like to share those 4 tips with you guys. Tip number 1, guys, would be discovering your setbacks. So when it comes to setbacks, these are things that your addictions, things that aren't good for you. I had several setbacks.
Listen, a few of my setbacks were, are we saying our setbacks?
Yeah, we can say it.
A few of my setbacks were, of course, it's no secret, I had a really tough time with sex. Sex was a setback of mine. Sex is probably my biggest setback, you know.
Okay. Well, sex is a setback. Mine was drinking. Drinking was my setback. So I say drinking too much. Okay, that's my setback. But discovering that, pinpointing it, and vocalizing that this is a setback for me, that is the first step to obedience.
Even though you have setbacks, it doesn't necessarily mean like God doesn't speak to you still. People think that if you have setbacks, then it's over, then God still is not working in your life.
When it comes to God's love, people don't understand that God's love is infinite and that it doesn't dwindle based on obedience. It doesn't dwindle based on how perfect we are, how perfect we try to be. God looks at our heart. And so when we know we have setbacks, or we know there's something that we need to remove from our life or eliminate from our life to become a better version of ourselves, I think that's what God is looking at. And whether or not we set back, he doesn't care how many times we struggle with it. He doesn't care how many times we go back to it. All he cares about is our heart and wanting to be better for ourselves.
I used to think that if I had a setback, it was the end all be all. He was gonna destroy me. And luckily I have you, Arzu, Raven, people like you guys in my life that kind of taught me that, you know, setbacks are a part of the journey. I'm going to try my best not to have the setback and stay on the spiritual path. But just because you have a setback does not mean God he hates you and he's going to kill you tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
he's going to kill you? Kill you? Kill you? Okay, well, so discovering setbacks, guys, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, I would say to start intentionally, we kind of just covered this, but intentionally taking the steps and removing the setbacks from your life. That is critical because now that you're aware of certain things that you need to eliminate, you have to actively pursue it and do it in order to grow. Tip number 3 would be keeping positive resources around you in the midst of this, because when you let go of certain things, it can be so hard. And I think he can kind of...
Yeah, having a tribe of people who support you genuinely and who love you, that is crucial, because without you guys, I would be out here still. I'll be doing crazy stuff. These can be dark times. Like, you know, these are lonely times when you're spending so much time with yourself and with God. It can feel very lonely. So having a support group of people who are on the same spiritual path as you and who speak the same language, it can feel often like you're alone in this journey when you're not.
Agreed. It's really personal.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's real personal.
Last point, you guys, would be once you've discovered your setbacks, once you start intentionally taking the steps to remove them from your life, and you keep positive resources around you to keep you strong and keeping those things away and out of your life, that is when you start hearing God's voice. Personally, that's how I started hearing God's voice. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't really start. I've always felt like I've heard God's voice, but I never listened. But once I was intentional about my actions and started obeying the words that he was giving me, he started blessing me and speaking to me very clearly. And I knew I know exactly when he's telling me certain things, and I have to act on it. That's part of obedience.
And like we said, obedience is not easy. It's not easy. It's probably the hardest thing you'll ever have to commit to in your life. And having setbacks we just want to encourage you in knowing that a setback does not mean that your journey is over or that you have to start over. God is with you, and he knew that your setbacks were going to occur before they even happened.
He made us. What?
He made us.
He made this world.
He made this world. So,
he made you.
He made you. So you have to be confident in knowing that God chose you to pursue this journey. God chose you to really just to live your best life. He wants the best for us. He wants you to be the happiest version of yourself. He wants you to pursue the best version of yourself. You cannot do that if you are keeping toxic things in your life, toxic people, a toxic lifestyle. You can't grow. So yeah, that is our tips that we believe will help you start hearing from God.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. Do we have a name for this?
There's no name. It's just good tips. Thank you guys for watching.
We appreciate y'all.
Bye.